My name is Kim Brandt. I am the Vice President of Institutional Advancement for the Indiana State Museum Foundation. On behalf of the Indiana State Museum, the Allen County Public Library, Lincoln Financial Foundation, I would like to welcome you all here this afternoon. I'd especially like to welcome Senator Long, thank you for joining us, and also the members of the Library Board of Trustees. Thank you all for being here this afternoon. It's my pleasure at this point to introduce someone that in this town doesn't need much of an introduction. I would like to introduce to all of you Sandy Kemmish, the Director of the Lincoln Financial Foundation.
Good afternoon. We sort of blew into town. That was a rather tight arrival for all of us, but we are thrilled to be here for this momentous occasion. 9 months ago, Lincoln Financial announced our intention to celebrate Abraham Lincoln's bicentennial by providing greater accessibility and visibility to our collection. To this end, we invited 40 organizations to a national meeting to discuss the future of our collection and the commencement of a request for proposal process. We were delighted with the response and the amazing number of collaborations that came together to create dynamic proposals to vie for the collection. On behalf of Lincoln Financial Foundation, I am proud to announce the largest gift the foundation has ever made. In honor of Abraham Lincoln's bicentennial in 2009, we are giving our $20 million collection to the Indiana State Consortium led by the Indiana State Museum and the Allen County Public Library. It's an exciting day in Indiana for so many of us who have waited for this decision. But I must share with you, the Indiana proposal rose above the rest of the finalists in several ways. I must say that the state-of-the-art digitization capabilities at this Allen County Public Library with 12 scanners and our staff that's trained is absolutely amazing. The dynamic Indiana State Museum, where we were this morning, attracts a diverse audience with a broad range of quality exhibits and programs. A naming opportunity at the Indiana State Museum for the new Lincoln Financial Foundation Gallery. Our partnership with the Indiana Historical Society and the State Library and Archives, and the expertise they will bring to this partnership. The reconstitution of the Friends of the Museum as a support agency. The incredible, dedicated staff at the Indiana State Foundation and Kim Brandt for all of her coordination and efforts. And lastly, but importantly, our support from the Governor, Senator David Long, and the state of Indiana to assist in pulling this consortium together. It is my pleasure to introduce Jeff Krull, Director of the Allen County Public Library, and no stranger to any of you. Thank you for hosting us in your facility.
Sandy, thank you so much, and we certainly want to thank the Lincoln National Foundation for their decision to keep this remarkable collection here in Fort Wayne and in the Hoosier State, where it was assembled and organized and painstakingly cared for many, many years. When I first came to Fort Wayne, way back in 1986, pretty early on, I was introduced to Mark Neely, who at that time was the director of what was called then the Lewis A. Warren Lincoln Library and Museum. This collection was remarkable, but it was kind of tucked away in the company headquarters, and I don't really think too many people knew much about it. In the early 90s, when the company under Ian Rowland's leadership renovated the Renaissance Square building, Ian decided that the collection really needed a higher profile, and he did a wonderful job of doing just that. Now, we hope with our proposal to continue that direction for this collection, which is to make it more accessible to researchers and average folks around the world. We will digitize portions of this as one of our top priorities. We'll certainly care for the originals. We'll do great exhibits in collaboration with our friends at the Indiana State Museum. And I think it's just going to be a really exciting future for this wonderful collection that we've now been entrusted with. I do want to thank everybody who worked so hard on our proposal. Susanna Kerber, who is our proposal writer, did an unbelievable job. We had lots of brainstorming sessions, but when it was all over, she's the one who took the notes and went back and put it all together. Thank you very much, Susanna. It was a wonderful job. There are many people to thank, and we will do that before we close here today. I want to introduce now my new friend, Barry Dressel, director of the Indiana State Museum, who's going to talk a little bit more about the importance of this collection and some of the plans that our partnership has developed to make this thing really vital and important to the research community. Barry?
Thank you. Let me begin by saying what may be obvious, but is especially wonderful for us. This is a great day for Indiana, a great day for the Allen County Public Library, and a great day for the Indiana State Museum. This is really a wonderful thing to have happen. Why was it so important that this extraordinary collection stay in Indiana? There were 40 other agencies that expressed interest at some point in gaining this collection. Why did it matter so much to us? Why did we put so much effort into preparing this proposal? Well, primary, of course, is the fact that the character of one of America's greatest presidents, Abraham Lincoln, was formed during his years in Indiana. Moving to the state from Kentucky at age 7 in 1816, the year of Indiana's admission to the Union, Lincoln spent the next 14 years in Indiana. His mother, Nancy Hanks Lincoln, is buried at the Lincoln Boyhood Home National Monument here in Indiana. Many of the Lincoln legends associated by a generation of Americans with our 16th president, learning to read by firelight, walking miles to return a borrowed book, working as a rail splitter, traveling by flatboat down the Ohio and the Mississippi, all of those happened in those early years in Indiana. He was, I think we can say, nurtured in Indiana soil. And on the way to his first inaugural, Lincoln's train stopped just 1 block east of where the Indiana State Museum now stands, so that Lincoln could address once more the citizens of Indiana. So keeping this distinguished collection that means so much for Indiana required development of a really unique partnership between the State Museum and the Allen County Public Library. It's been a pleasure getting to know this facility in particular. I had no idea that this was the 12th largest central library system in the country, and I certainly was blown away by the resources that this museum represents, particularly in genealogical research. The two facilities became natural partners, and together we're committed to the stewardship and the enduring recognition of the Lincoln Financial Foundation collection. We are lucky also that we've had the assistance of other supporting partners, the Indiana State Library and Archives, which will help us reach audiences through the libraries around the state and the country, and the Indiana Historical Society with its superb paper conservation facilities and its important Lincoln collection. The experience, resources, and complementary mission of these institutions will provide the best of care for the Lincoln Financial Foundation collection and allow us to give dramatically increased public access to these internationally significant holdings. Steve Haller is here today from the Indiana Historical Society. He's Senior Director of Collections and Library. He's been instrumental and worked with the process from the very beginning of putting this proposal together. At its core, this partnership between the Allen County Public Library and the State Museum will allow scholarly resources of the Lincoln National Foundation collection be digitalized and be made available to scholars both in this facility and online. At the State Museum, our state-of-the-art storage facilities, our conservation labs will house and care for the portions of the collection that can form the basis of exhibitions. And we're going to design and dedicate a gallery in the museum as the location for a series of exhibitions that can travel to other museums and help keep Abraham Lincoln's legacy alive and his example foremost. I should remind you, by the way, that the State Museum will be one of the 5 venues nationally for the Library of Congress's Lincoln Bicentennial exhibition, which will open at the State Museum in February of 2010. This is truly an equal partnership that we're embarking on between this library and the State Museum. And together we're going to do our part to encourage active scholarship and access to this remarkable collection. Probably all of you remember that just as Lincoln died, his Secretary of War, Edward Stanton, said, "Now he belongs to the ages." And our mission in this partnership is to make sure that Lincoln also belongs to the world. So we're delighted to be here and accept this collection. Jeff?
I'd like to recognize another key member of our coalition team who's here today, who played a low-key role, but a very instrumental one. Mike Westfall, thank you so much. Mike being the chairman of the Friends of the Lincoln Museum. Give him a hand. I'd like now to introduce someone who absolutely needs no introduction in this town, so I won't give him one. Everybody knows Ian Roland.
You might want to debate whether my role was low-key also. You can tell I think this is a really important day because I have a tie on today. I haven't worn many of those in the last 10 years since I retired from the Lincoln. I have a lot of personal interest in this collection. I had 21 years of approving authorizations for funds to acquire artifacts and publications and so forth. And I remember especially one instance where Mark Neely and I went to New York to pick up a piece of art that we were going to add to the collection, and this was the last portrait of Abraham Lincoln painted before his assassination. And we had bought it. It was at a dealer's office in New York City. The only problem was that the insurance required us to keep this in our possession at all times. And this was a pretty good sized painting, crated up. So it was a big box. And we were traveling back to Fort Wayne from New York by train. And we wanted to get something to eat that night on the train, and so we had to cart this big crate to the dining car of the train. I think after we got in with that, there wasn't much room for anyone else in the dining car. But I particularly remember the visit of Gerald Ford to Fort Wayne when we dedicated the museum and really put the museum in a place where more people could take advantage of it. So this has been a labor of love for me to be involved in this project. And all along through the process, I felt that the proposal we were putting forth was one of unusual quality. I figured we could do pretty well when I first got started on this, but the proposal that we gave to the Lincoln was better and more complete and more professional than even I thought we would be able to do. So it's just delightful to come to this occasion and find out that we here in Indiana can do pretty well against the Smithsonian, against Springfield, Illinois, against Gettysburg and all the other Lincoln sites around the country. Now, the reason I think we were able to do that, and this isn't always the trait of Hoosiers, and that is we were all able to work together. After some initial debates over what we would present, the team worked together with the same goals in mind, with a dedication to winning this competition, and that's really how it turned out. We had enormous cooperation, starting with the governor's office, the Indiana State Museum, the library here in Fort Wayne, and other organizations across the state, including the Friends of the Lincoln Museum, all working together to make this happen. And so it's a real delight for me to stand here and celebrate this and understand the kind of advantages and quality this will add to the cultural and historic life here in the state. So it's been a delight. We're kind of just getting started on this because we got a little money to raise. So if I call you up and make an appointment, you'll know what it's all about. But we'll do that because I really sense in this community and in this state real commitment and desire on the part of people all over to make this thing work and to bring this collection back permanently to the state of Indiana. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Ian. You can't believe how much work he's put into this. It's been great. I realize the opening and closing doors are a little bit of a distraction, but in a way it proves one of the points we made in our proposal. This is a really busy library, and people are going to come here and use this material. When the announcement was made that the Lincoln Museum was going to close in its previous form, we immediately started talking with different groups, as Ian said, and pulling together people who could try to come up with a plan to deal with that. One of the first people who stepped forward and offered his help was Senator David Long, and he worked diligently with us throughout the whole process. We're delighted to have him here today. Senator? Thanks,
Jeff. Well, congratulations on a very busy place, Jeffrey. I love this. This is music to his ears, I know, and to all of ours. This is a great day for everybody who's been involved in this process, and you know, it's entirely appropriate that that this collection ended up in Fort Wayne and in Indiana for three reasons. Not just because, of course, the collection was housed here for so many years in Fort Wayne and built here. Not just because, as Barry said, Lincoln's formative years were spent entirely in Indiana, where he learned to read, where he grew for his love of books and knowledge and education. And really the key footprint, I think, for the man that he became. But also because I think we could do the best job, and I think this team of people that worked on this so hard for so long proved it. Really, just think about what we've have here in Allen County, the #1 genealogical library in the country now, and the experts who take care of it and know how to take care of the rare books that are a key part of this collection, and the great people at the State Museum who already have a significant Lincoln collection to begin with, and will do a great job giving it the access that the Lincoln Foundation wanted, more people to be able to see this great collection. But you know, with that in mind, there's also three other people that I want to mention right now. You've met them all already today, except for Mike, who, you know, along with Jeff Krull, put this group together. This statewide group in a very, very short period of time. They invited me to come to it right after the session was over in March, right after our property tax effort, which was interesting to say the least. And boom, here's this new project. Really, and particularly Jeffrey, you did a great job pulling people together, and you deserve tremendous credit for that, for having the wisdom to put that group together that was formed. And then to help everyone collaborate on a plan. And that plan was hatched upstairs in the conference room, where the teammates of the library and the State Museum were joined together. And it was a great strategy, and it proved to be a winning one. And the second person you've just heard speak, which is Ian Roland, who's one of the greatest friends this community will ever have, and one of its greatest leaders. And it was his quiet work, which everyone talked about at that meeting and discussed, but of course couldn't talk about publicly because Ian wanted everyone to just zip it and let him do what he needed to do and work on this carefully and diligently, and he did. He showed his great leadership skills, his deft touch, his knowledge of the Lincoln culture, of course, which was crucial, and the people and the relationships he had there. I don't think without Ian that we'd be here today, to be honest with you, in spite of all the other great work of the people. So let's give this gentleman another hand because he did a great job. And the last person I want to thank is Sandy Kemmish, who obviously was in a very difficult situation through this as a native of this area, and with some criticism out there, why is the Lincoln Museum closing? I think we understand what the goal of the foundation was, and I think their goal is going to be the proper one. This is going to be seen by a heck of a lot more people. It's going to be much more high profile than it's ever been, and I think it's going to be a good thing for this state. But Sandy and the leadership of the foundation also is a key reason why it's here today. Sandy, thank you again for this great Christmas gift to our city and to our state.
And with that, I thank you all for coming, and have a great afternoon. Thank you all.